Comments and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. That means peace be unto you. Welcome to Liberated Sisters, streaming live at Morris Media Studios. Also here, if you're tuning in on my Facebook page, Charlene Muhammad. Oh my goodness, bombshell in the earth. We have a jam-packed show for you today. We have LAPD retired Sergeant Sister Cheryl Ford Dorsey, who has been analyzing through her Sergeant Dorsey Speaks podcast, the trial of Amber Guyger, former cop in Dallas that shot and killed our brother Botham Jean. She is going to be starting off the Justice Report with us today to talk about the murder conviction. Yes, Amber Guyger was convicted of murder. Following that, we're going to continue in the Justice Report with the Final Call newspaper. Our guest today for the main show is Families United for Justice, the Love Not Blood campaign's Cephas, Uncle Bobby X Johnson, and wife Sister Beatrice X. They are founders of Love Not Blood. They're coming off a very successful 3-day weekend conference with families impacted victims of police violence in Las Vegas. And so we have that coming up. But first, the Justice Report. No delay. Let's bring in Cheryl Ford Dorsey, author, oh my God, whistleblower. Sister Cheryl, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Liberated Sisters.
Thanks for having me, Sister Charlene.
Indeed. So were you as shocked as I? And I want to first say shout out to our great sister warrior, attorney Nana Jumphy, executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration. That's BAJI, as well as Black Warriors for Justice Warriors for Black Lives, because on the way into the show station, I saw her post about Botham Jean, and that's how I learned. So, Cheryl, were you as shocked as I? Because I said, this lady's going nowhere. She's acquitted. I was wrong.
Well, listen, I was pleasantly surprised because I was very much concerned in my spirit. I thought, we have the history of Betty Shelby, who shot and killed a black man, Terrence Crutcher, in the back because his mere presence frightened her. And so here we have little 5'3" Amber Guyger. She crafted a story, and I commend her for her dedication. She stuck to it. He scared me. I was afraid. But see, here's the problem with Amber Guyger. You can't have being a police officer cut both ways, right? Or cut one way. It actually cuts both ways because a lot of her testimony, she talks on place of her training, fired 2 rounds in rapid succession as she's trained, to center body mass as she's trained. But what she did, the training she did follow was, you don't enter into a structure where there's a suspect. She said she opened the door, could see someone inside. And so if you know that there's a suspect inside, then you do the reasonable thing, which is you back up, you take cover and concealment. And so this trial was about what's reasonable. And we know that it was unreasonable for her to enter that man's apartment as he sat on his sofa watching his 50-inch television, which was very different from hers, and shoot him. It was unreasonable. And so I am so glad. But listen, it's not over because she has not been sentenced yet, and we don't want her to get a slap on the hand.
Yeah.
Like that officer in New York who got probation for shooting and killing a Kai Gurley.
Yeah.
So let's not celebrate too soon.
That's right. Absolutely. You know, it's just like that glimmer of hope that I hear families talk about, because they don't even get this much. Some don't make it to court, much less trial. They don't even get tapes. They have nothing. So I think in Botham Jean's case, we see a little more progress than we have. But the ultimate extreme justice, the right and true justice, can only come from Allah God. But also we see that you're saying, right, she could face between 5 and 99 years. And we don't want to see a situation as we did in the case of Oscar Grant III with Johannes Mersley. And by the way, Sifa's Uncle Bobby X and Sister Beatrice will be coming on right after Sister Cheryl. But we saw that he was supposed to serve a certain amount of time and got a slap on the wrist, a gun enhancement tossed out, and pretty much was just spanked a little bit. So you're right. Talk about this jury.
So listen, the jury was consisted of 8 women and 4 men, and it was reported that there are 5 blacks, 5 Hispanics, and then either 2 whites or one white, 1 Asian. And so, I have to think that, the minorities on this jury, that's why it's so important that we don't dodge jury summons when we get them. Because, listen, every black and brown person on that jury understands they go home every day. They know what it is to walk into your dwelling and know whether or not it's yours based on smells and scene and furniture and everything that's uniquely you.
Right.
And so, listen, that had to play a part, in addition to the fact that let's not forget the elephant in the room, and that is that Amber Guyger was a side piece. And so, listen, every woman can understand and not appreciate the fact that the first thing Amber Guyger thought to do as she let Botham Jean bleed out in his apartment was not to provide CPR, but to call her boyfriend and see if she could get him away from Mrs. Rivera, because Amber needed him.
Oh my gosh! And this came out because you were talking about that on your Sergeant Darcy Speaks.
Yeah, it came out during the trial.
Horrible.
Listen, I know police culture. I know cops, and I said this way before it even came out. I said she's a side piece.
You did.
Martin Rivera was testifying. He would text her when he was on his way to the gym, on his way home from the gym. He was texting her everywhere but when he was at home, because when he's at home, he's with Mrs. Rivera.
Wow.
And so he can't have any communication with her. And so all of that came out, and that's part of what they were trying to use as the defense, is that she was distracted because she had been sexting and texting Martin Rivera moments before she entered the apartment. And let me just say this, because this wasn't part of the trial, it wasn't evidence, but again, this is what I believe to be true. I believe Amber Guyger was working as security for that apartment complex.
That's right.
She did testify under oath that she was a courtesy cop at the previous apartment building where she lived. Either she was still doing it because they had hired her to do it over there at the Southside Flats, which leasing office couldn't admit under oath, and you understand why, liability.
Yeah.
Or she was working as a courtesy cop freelancing and decided to stay in her uniform when she got off work, went to the apartment because there was some controversy earlier in the day about both smoking marijuana, and somebody complained. I believe Amber went over there in her uniform to confront him. And because she's 5'3", there probably were some words exchanged, and she shot and killed him. Both of them can't tell us that because he's not here. But I believe it in my gut based on what I know about cops, police culture, and how they get down.
Wow. Before you go, I want to ask you to talk about the prayer factor, because I went into heavy prayer when I saw one of your posts, because I said she's watching this day to day. She's analyzing it. What's happening here? What had happened that made you put out that call on your Facebook page or your social media pages?
Which one in particular?
When you said pray for the family, pray for Botham's family.
Because I was just unsettled. I thought that I didn't know that the jury was listening as I was listening, because I'm a cop. And so I'm listening as a police officer. I'm listening, more importantly, as a police supervisor. And I knew the things that she was saying were very telling. Like when she talked about, the defense brought this up to make it seem like she was a good cop, and, she was working in a very specialized unit, the CRT, Crime Response Team. Well, you understand, living here in Los Angeles, we have within Metropolitan Division, we have SWAT, and then we have what we call Metro officers, and those are the guys just below SWAT. Part of Metropolitan Division, they are platoon officers who go around and they deal with crime proactively. They don't respond to radio calls. And for her to be the only female in a unit like that on the Dallas Police Department let me know that she has a certain kind of a mindset. And I refer to this as she thinking she's Billy Badass.
I get
she's
it.
the only female in that unit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the guys probably pump her up because she's cute. And, you know, we know that
she's
cute because at least one of them was spending some special time with her, right?
Eye of the beholder. Yes, ma'am.
And, eye of the beholder. Yeah, they're cute. But nonetheless, you know, this gave her a false sense of security about how important and how imposing she is, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I think it gave her the confidence, the arrogance to go over there off-duty in uniform, using the uniform as a premise to gain compliance and confront Botham Jean. Because remember this, it came out during the testimony by her own admission that after she shot and seriously wounded Botham Jean, the first thing she did was call Martin Rivera, her partner. She said, hurry up, I effed up, I need you. She never told him where she needed him to come.
Wow.
She never said what was going on. She never said why she needed him. You know why? In my mind, because Martin already knew that she was going to go over there and do that because he's her partner, because they're lovers, because they have pillow talk. And so he knew what she does over there off-duty in uniform, and he knew that that night she was going to go over there and confront Botham Jean, and it went bad.
Wow. Wow. This is amazing. Sergeant Darcy, retired Sergeant Darcy, Ask Sergeant Darcy is her podcast. Please follow her, find out more. She's going to be analyzing this until we see this sentence and probably after. But thank you so much for coming on to Liberated Sisters. I found out, called you, and you responded. So thanks for enlightening us with the information. And do you want to give out your information in addition to Ask Sergeant Darcy?
It's Sergeant Darcy Speaks.
Thank you. I can't. You know what? I'm trapped into my Ask Dr. Ava. I apologize, and I keep correcting myself. But Sergeant Darcy Speaks.
Sergeant Darcy Speaks. That's my podcast. That's my YouTube channel, and that's my Gmail account. If anyone has questions, concerns, needs some advice, wants to reach out to me, do that there, and visit my website www.sgt. Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, sgtcheryldorsey.com. Thank you so much, Sister Charlene. The fight is not over. Please remain prayerful until we get a sentence on Amber Guyger.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
We're going to continue on with the Justice Report coming out of the Final Call newspaper. We will have the Farrakhan factor. You all bear with me. I adjusted the show as soon as we found out, but we needed to pay homage to Botham Jean and let you know what's happening and get some analysis there. So right now we're getting ready to come up with more of the Justice Report. I just want to highlight some things in the Final Call newspaper, and then we're going to go into the Farrakhan factor, and then we're bringing in Cephas, Uncle Bobby, X Johnson, and Sister Beatrice. Stay tuned. So,
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll fight for my brothers. We can go to war.
Yeah, the Final Call Farrakhan factor is coming up. We're going to start with just moving into the Justice Report. It's really all woven in together because we're talking about we want justice. So this week's cover story of the Final Call newspaper is bone-chilling, right? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke in Grand Rapids, and the cover story is "The End is Here." No, that's not it. This is the end. Bold red letters. This is the end. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan delivered a powerful message about divine justice and warning in the city, Grand Rapids. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, where one of our brothers, a Muslim minister, his follower was killed. Student minister Robert Muhammad. And so you can go to NOI.org, also Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam's YouTube page, and see the entire message. But you can read about that in the Final Call newspaper. There's other heavy-hitting stories. I just want you to go to finalcall.com. I won't delve into those right now because I want to keep us right on this cover story, this message, this bone-chilling message of truth and warning. He said Grand Rapids would be reduced to rubble. There it is. This is the end. I don't know about you, but I shiver every time I hear the minister deliver a warning, and I hurry to find out what God wants and what he doesn't want and to comply. But now, in his own words, with a brief message from Grand Rapids, here is Minister Farrakhan.
God don't want to kill you. He loves you. For he sent somebody to call you. My God, he calls me by the thunder. I hear him call within my soul. Do you hear him? I ain't got long stay here. See, you've been ducking and dodging God. He's striking at you, and you're losing a lot of stuff, plus your mind, and you can't figure it out. Like little Greta Thunberg. She can't figure out why climate is messed up. It's because judgment has come. And the climate is a result of God's judgment on America and the world. So Jesus said, your nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Ain't that happening? Yes, sir. There'll be earthquakes in diverse places. There'll be famine. There'll be drought. There'll be pestilence. Is it going on now? Well, shouldn't you begin thinking that maybe I better get myself right with God? Because something is going to happen in Grand Rapids. Just to let the folks that killed our brother know that God has not forgotten. And we have not forgotten.
God is not forgotten. And see, when he affects that justice, that's truly amazing, and no one can help you. So that's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking from Grand Rapids. I appeal to you to go to the Final Call, finalcall.com. Start with that cover story by our beautiful, great, intelligent, powerful managing editor, Sister Charlene Muhammad, and just read all the way through. We have information on what student minister Dr. Ava Muhammad said in her own words was the best separation town hall ever, is how she said it, in Los Angeles, and she delved into why. So read that and read all of the stories and information there in the Final Call and spread the word about it. Finalcall.com. Let's move now to the Love Not Blood campaign, Families United for Justice co-founders, Cephas Uncle Bobby X Johnson and his beautiful wife, warrior, Sister Beatrice. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam, Sister Charlene.
Good to hear you both. How are you?
We're blessed and just, thankful to be alive today.
Praise be to Allah. You better say that. Say that. Thank you all for your patience. I adjusted the show a little bit right at the top of the hour, but coming out with the news about Botham Jean, finding out as soon as we got into the parking lot was very important for me to adjust that. But it's coming right along into what we're talking about, Families United for Justice, right? And so let's talk about, first, let's get your thoughts about the conviction of the officer in that case. And let's roll right into what happened this weekend with your successful conference. Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you, Sister Charlene. Of course, my thoughts is that we can't, get too excited because the actual sentencing date hasn't arrived yet.
That's right.
And as we know, historically, many of these sentencing, if they're actually sentenced, can be something that we definitely is brokenhearted about. So just because we got a conviction doesn't mean anything until sentencing date and when that actually happens.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sister Beatrice?
I want to say that I am glad and overjoyed that they did get a verdict, but my thought in it was, if they don't, at the rate Allah is going and where we are with Allah and where He is with this world, I would hope that you don't let her walk out.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at it at a higher spiritual realm. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that this world is so wicked, you just gonna, Allah is not mocked. Okay? So we already on the list, right? So would you really let this woman walk out of court?
That'll be amazing.
My thing was, that's what I was saying. I was thinking, if you let her walk out of court, I was thinking, oh, Allah, if this woman walks out of court, if you can walk in a black man's apartment while he's minding his own business and murder him, and say you went into the wrong apartment, oh, you know what time it is after that. So, as everybody say, but we already know how this goes. Let's hold her to, you said 5 to 25 years?
Yeah, 5 to 99.
She needs 99 years plus 1.
That carries 5 to 99 and no possibility for probation. Pardon me.
She needs a 99 with no possibility.
Yeah. Also, I thought I might be seeing their family, but then I thought about, they're in trial. But give them a year.
Right.
Give them a year.
Right.
And they'll be talking again how to affect that justice. What do you think was a factor in this case? In what do both of you think was a factor in the Botham Jean case for us seeing this conviction?
I'm gonna say quickly and let Uncle Bobby speak. I'm gonna say that we took jury duty.
Cheryl said that. Cheryl Dorsey said the same.
I believe that. I believe that we took jury. You have it, because I've heard in many cases, even in the case of Trayvon Martin, that lonely sister was intimidated.
Yeah.
She was intimidated by the jurors.
Yeah.
And so I think that when that's eliminated, then our people can feel like they can just tell the truth. Because right now it's either right or wrong. There's no middle.
Yeah, you did.
It's either right or wrong. And so I think that the fact that we had African Americans on the jury was a factor.
Wow. Thank you. Uncle Bobby?
Yeah, I would say it has more to do with the fact that, since Oscar's murder, we've been speaking about police accountability and transparency.
Yeah.
And because we've been in the street, because bridges and buildings has been shut down, because these shootings has been so egregious all around this country, and because people have been visualizing, many have now come to believe that the police is not those saints that are employed to protect our communities. And because that they're not so much the saint anymore, it pushes those particular jurors that sit in these jury boxes making this decision to not look at the officer as an angel, but look at the officer and what he has really done in his actual procedures in the issue before the actual shooting takes place. And what they have found, what we are seeing and what we find and believe is that the consciousness of the people has finally been adjusted to see that these police officers are human beings that can do criminal acts and yet carry that badge. And now they're being convicted because of that.
Wow. Thank you very much. See, this is all coming out with no coincidence in terms of the timing, how we see these things happening. For instance, I'm thinking about in Dallas, right? That's Dallas. Yes. So the last time we had a major incident in Dallas was the officers being killed And it being said that it was supposedly in retaliation for what happened with Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge and Philando Castile in Minnesota. But I was thinking about that Dallas effect, right? But let's transition now into your successful conference assisting families such as Botham Jean's family. Now that we have the conviction, now that people are still going to be applying justice and watching and monitoring for the sentencing, there's the aftermath of the support that these families still need, right?
That's correct.
And you all had a conference that deals with that. So this was, tell me what year. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Pardon me?
What year was this again for us?
This is the fourth year.
Fourth year, a foundation year. Go ahead, Uncle Bobby.
That's it. The fourth year. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean,
well, it's the third year consecutive, but it's the fourth annual Families United for Justice because the first one started in 2014.
Thank you. Check that out. Thank you. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something. I know what I was going to say. When we covered you and I watched you and I heard you, Uncle Bobby, say that you started the Oscar Grant Foundation after your nephew was killed, right, 2009, because you all did not want anybody else to experience what the Grant family was experiencing. You all went to work immediately and, I mean, have been like nonstop 24/7, 7 days a week, right, 365 days a year. And when I looked out at the room, the audience, the auditorium there, we were at the Doolittle Center, it was packed, jam-packed, standing room only. And I know that you're working to stop that, but we just see how this is increasing. My question is, how does it feel for either of you can answer this, both of you, to see the numbers growing?
First, it's sad. First and foremost, it's painful to see the numbers growing. But again, it's a joy to see families coming together to work united as a united front to make change. And I want to say very quickly that we want to thank our directors of Families United for Justice, Dominique Archibald. Dominique Archibald, her son was Nathaniel Pickett. Sheila Banks, the auntie of Corey Jones. Earl Lewis, the cousin of William Chapman. Also, we have Andrew Joseph and Deanna Joseph, the parents of Andrew Joseph III. We have Crystal Brown, the spouse of Marlon Brown, who left 3 lovely children behind. We also have Michael Brown and his lovely wife, Calvina
Callie
Brown. Yes, as well as Uncle Bobby and myself. And we could not have done this without our team, especially Dominique Archibald, who was on the ground in Vegas and kind of laid the foundation. Then we flew in a couple of times to seal it. And with our team, we thank our team. And most of all, after that conference on each day, I went to that hotel room and I got on that prayer rug and I thanked Allah for his mercy and grace. All praises are due to Allah. All praises are due to Allah.
Yes, all praises due to Allah. Absolutely, because it was a very big success. And the way I measured it myself personally was the families, to see them so uplifted, to see them so bonded, to see them fall into each other's arms. You know, it was just something that had not been before. Not before this year, but before Love Not Blood. You know, I'm not saying I don't know everything. I don't know where families were able to get support. But I saw this movement develop. And as I posted recently, the most able to help with this are those impacted. And it's not that others can't support. We have to be a wraparound perimeter support, but the solution is going to come from within. What do you think about that, Uncle Bobby?
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I mean, you know, I'm clear. Since the murder of Oscar, January 1st, 2009, to today, and I'm only going to speak about the state of California, we know that it's 1,200 plus bodies that has been killed by the police here in the state of California. And so we can magnify that probably by 10 and see that it's been close to 20,000 that has been killed here in the United States by the police. You know, and these numbers can actually be documented. I mean, even though it's a sad note, and it's actually, and sadly, it's going to get even a little more steeper and worse because white supremacy is falling.
Oh, yeah. And they're taking everything down with it.
Exactly. And so there is going to be some more egregious act that's going to happen around this country. But we can see the change coming because when we think about it, right after Oscar, it took almost 10 years, not quite 10 years, about 8 years before an officer Rankin in Portsmouth, Virginia was convicted. Mm-hmm. And he got 2.5 years for the murder of William Chapman in Portsmouth, Virginia. Then a little bit of time after that, of course, Officer, I forget his name, out of West Palm Beach, Florida, Officer, what was his name? Out of West Palm Beach, Florida, was found guilty for the murder of Corey Jones, and he got 25 years. Of course, then the officer that killed the Australian woman, I believe it was in Minnesota, we know got 12.5 years. And now we're waiting on a conviction and hopefully some time for this officer that just killed the brother in Dallas. And I'm saying all that to say is that even though we're getting these small victories, right, this heinous act of police violence is still continuing. But it's continuing because white supremacy is on its way out. And anything that is dying will fight like hell to stay alive.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with this evil spiritual host of white supremacy trying to maintain its power.
Yeah, principalities in form. Let's bring in, I think we need to, and we'll give our engineer time to call them, but I think we want to bring in one of the family members. We're going to talk to Pamela Fields. Her son Dante Jordan was killed in Long Beach, and Mary Duenas, is it right? Am I saying right?
Rosemary.
I can't call her Mary. I'm sorry, Rosemary.
But Mary is Rosemary.
That's right. Duenas, and her son Ernest was killed in Manteca. So we're going to, let's call Pamela Fields, and we'll speak with her. And to the mothers, if you're viewing, thank you so much for your patience. I just, again, had to readjust because I think it's very big news coming out of Dallas. But let's go until she's on. Pamela Fields is on the line. Let's go to the family responses there. The families you had there. You had first of all
my goodness, we had
a great panel discussion. But the families present, it's like I was walking through the final call of interviews when I walked in and started seeing, oh, there's Devontae, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so, Miss Vita, Alton Sterling's son. But go ahead, Beatrice.
I was just going to say that we were asked why we had it in the hood. Because initially, let's just say this was a long year in Families United for Justice. And we had to fight to make this happen. We had to overcome some obstacles of naysayers and doubters. And so we pushed on. This conference got pulled off in 3 months.
Wow. I blinked and it was here. Let me say, Beatrice, as you continue, I do have to apologize. Because you are not on Skype, I'm not able to call the mothers. And we really want to hear from them. So, Rosemary and Pamela, if you can maybe dialogue with us online, that would be great. Or I'm willing to come back and do another show and have them on Skype and have you and Uncle Bobby on the phone. But that's our electronics right here. So just be aware of that. But go ahead.
Well, what if we can do this? What if you can call them, and after theirs, then you call us back and we close out?
Yeah, I'm willing to do that. We have to transition very quick though, so we'll do that.
I would like that because I would like
that's right.
Them to speak.
And we promise.
Then you can call us back and we'll close out.
Okay, good. It'll be
5 minutes to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll have to just come back because we're going to Washington, D.C.
I know. We got to talk about that. So we'll let you go, and I'll give up more information. And thank you so much for that. So we'll call you all back. We're going to call Miss Fields right now first. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Hey, we're producing on the fly. I got to give the owner engineer, Felicia, the Poetess Mars, look, I'm sorry. Don't kill me, sister. But, yeah, they were going to come on Skype, Beatrice and Uncle Bobby, but they actually called. But at the end of the day, we're talking about justice, right? So also, if you want to support Liberated Sisters, we do need your support to keep this this internet podcast going, this video internet podcast going. The Cash App, should you find it in your heart to want to partner with or support Liberated Sisters, the support is $sis Charlene, SISCHARLENE. I have it posted on my Facebook page. Also, we have the book coming out, Pumps on the Ground. You can go to liberatedSisters.com for more information on that. Thank you to all of you who have pre-ordered and been pre-ordering and asking. I appreciate that. And one more thing, I just want to talk about finalcall.com again as we get Miss Fields on. Please look and listen. Read the Final Call story by Charlene Muhammad. Start with the cover story and go all the way through the paper. We have the Separation Town Hall. Go to projectseparation.com for a student minister, Dr. Ava Muhammad's past town halls, her next stop, how you can sign the petition. A referendum is at hand. We're taking a vote. We want to know. We haven't taken a vote. I'm sorry. We're doing the petition right now. We're finding out. What do you think? Should blacks and the indigenous consider separation? And so that's very critical when we talk about these police killings and what's happening. A lot of times, no justice. We're not saying no justice, no peace. We're saying separation is the key. So finalcall.com for that. I want to share with you some of the information. Pamela Fields said that would work. We're getting ready to call you right now. She's waiting for the call. I think they're on the line with her now. Some of the comments are down in the thread, but thank you all who's on all the time. Brother Michael J. Muhammad, El Kamara Muhammad, who talked about with the Final Call Justice Report, they're going to have to severely pay, meaning those who murdered Robert Muhammad. When you hear Student Minister Abdul Saad Muhammad talk about, and he's our Student National Secretary, when he talks about what happened to Minister Robert in the town hall meeting that we held there, you just gotta, say thank Allah for these mighty warriors and that they're with us and we're with them, right? So you can go to NOI.org for that as well. So what we're getting ready to do in a few months, I see you, Brother Michael, thank you so much, is speak for 5 minutes, God willing, to Miss Pamela Fields. And then after that, we're going to speak to Rosemary Dunez. And let's see, I think we have Pamela ready. She's not answering. Can we call Rosemary? Pamela, she's trying to call you. It's not going through. I see that we are dialoguing on Facebook. And everyone, thank you for your patience. It's how we know we're alive when we're changing. So we're going to call you now, Rosemary. And I'm going to just tell Sister Beatrice and Uncle Bobby, next time, come on Skype like we tell you to do. But they couldn't. So you have any questions or comments about what's happening with what we see with police killings, with convictions? Oh, I do want to put them in the thread because we're not able to take the calls. But look, shout out to Student Minister Abdul Sabur Muhammad of Mosque number 26B. He gave a very riveting message on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam at the conference in Las Vegas. Our own beloved, right out of Los Angeles, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Black Lives Matter, and professor at Cal State Los Angeles, really rocked the crowd. They're just giving so much information there. We also had Attorney John Burris. We had a brother with a mapping project, and his name escapes me now, Sister Beatrice, and we'll bring that back. And we had a sister with Amnesty International, and they gave a lot of resources to the families. So can we talk to Rosemary? We're going to Rosemary Dunez right now. Rosemary?
Good morning.
Greetings. Say your last name. I'm slaughtering you.
It's okay. Dueñas.
Dueñas. I'm so sorry. Rosemary Dueñas. Thank you so much. We have a few minutes. Tell us about, and thanks for your patience. Tell us what happened to your son and the case update, and give us that in about 5 minutes. I'm sorry to shorten that.
That's fine. My son, Ernest Dueñas Jr., was murdered by John Moody of Manteca PD on June 8, 2011. So it's actually been 8 years for us. Wow. The killing was caught on the police officer's dash cam video, and that is available on YouTube to be seen. And He was, the officer said he was pulling them over because there was a ticket or something. Mm-hmm. But the dash cam video shows him actually waiting down the block for the truck to pull up into their driveway.
Wow.
So as soon as he pulled up to the driveway, the officer pulled right behind it in full view of the dash cam. He came out and he started yelling, Ernest, Ernie, get out of the car. Ernie, get out of the car. When my son was jumping out of the car, his foot was caught on the seatbelt, had one hand on the roof of the truck, one hand on the door, and Officer Moody started shooting him. My son was shot 11 times, and the officer had completely shot all the bullets in his gun, hitting the house and other areas.
Wow.
Of those 11 bullets, most of them were when he was on the ground. He was shot in the chest, the back, and his face. And they never found a weapon. The officer first said that he had a knife or a gun. A weapon was never found near him at all. And once he was on the ground, they handcuffed him as he was dying. You could hear him moaning and groaning as the officer started pulling his shirt up, tearing his shirt open, putting his hands down his pants, looking for a weapon that they never found.
Oh, wow.
Something to justify what he had just done. My son had a little boy, Dominic, who was 11 months old at the time. Luckily, he wasn't at the house, but his wife witnessed the whole thing. And you can hear her screaming where she's just telling him, help him, help him. None of the officers that arrived tried to save him. It wasn't until the ambulance came that they finally tried to help him, but he did pass away on the way to the hospital. The officer said he feared for his life. However, he had the chance to stand back behind his car door. Instead, he ran towards my son. He didn't wait for backup or anything. So someone that's fearing for their life is not going to run towards someone that they're fearing.
Wow. Our condolences here from Liberated Sisters. What's the status? What happened with the officers?
Nothing. Of course, the DA found him not guilty, that it was justified killing, and they just went on their merry way, had their 3 days off with pay, and Manteca PD just...
3 days? Is that how sharp the investigation was?
No, they get, they put them on a 3-day leave, the officers.
Right.
And then they go back on duty. We were set for a trial about 3 years later, but we decided to settle out of court due to my grandson and
okay.
members that were ill.
I understand, because I'm saying that's a short investigation.
No, that was just how long they keep them, they keep them off of duty for a couple of days, and then they put them back on the streets.
Well, Manteca, something else. El-Kamar Muhammad says, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that they look like human beings, but they have the characteristics of a beast. Let me ask you this before we transition to Ms. Fields. Well, we'll have to call her. But what does the Families United for Justice conference mean for you and your family?
To us, it is a great honor to be able to attend this. We have attended, I think, just about every single one that they've had so far. Our family is very appreciative to Uncle Bobby and Sister Beatrice, because it brings all the families together. And this last conference is even more so because you keep meeting new families, which is very sad. Yeah. And I was able to meet up with families that I've known since back in the beginning that were also going through this tragedy that I hadn't seen in a while. So it was a beautiful thing, Then the prayer circle was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. that really was. Well, our condolences again, and strength go with you, and may God continue to bless you and your family, your grandson, as you continue to walk in the spirit and the life of your son, Ernest.
Thank you very much. We will continue.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Peace and blessings.
God-bless.
Yes, that was Rosemary Denunez speaking about the killing of her son, Ernest, in Manteca, pardon me, she told me how to pronounce her name, but this is what they do. They're all saying the same thing. They've said the same thing there, that it's unfortunate to be amongst that group of people, but they strengthen each other so much. And they're making change. Let me tell you, they've got legislation that is happening. They're victorious on that front. And this conference is pretty good. Let's see. The sister who filmed the shooting of Botham Jean was fired from her job in reality. Wait a minute. So as we wait to talk to Miss Pamela Fields, and we're going to bring Sister Beatrice and Uncle Bobby back, Sandra Muhammad, thank you, Sister Sandra. Assalamu alaikum. She says the sister who filmed the shooting of Botham Jean was fired from her job in retaliation. We're going to go check that out. Also, that brings to mind the brother who filmed and was there with and for Eric Garner in New York, has been convicted and received some jail time on some things. And so that's something else. I want to find out about that sister who filmed Botham Jean. Do we have Miss Fields? All righty. Okay, we're going to talk to Pamela Fields right now. Her son, Dante Jordan, was killed right here in Long Beach PD. Greetings, Miss Pamela. Thank you so much for your patience.
That's okay. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, indeed. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well to be expected.
I know, right? I can only be expected. Well, thank you for coming on. I want you to start by briefly telling us what happened to your son and what's the status of the case, if there's a case. There's
really not much of a case, but my son had. As a matter of fact, my son was a Muslim. His Muslim name was Nasar Shabazz, and he had went to his prayer that he does, and he had called me, and he was like, "Mom, today is November the 10th, which that was the day rent was in. He'd only been in his apartment. We had separated for 4 months, and he's like, I don't want to have to pay this extra $50. So I'm like, well, stop what you're doing right now. And I was just real adamant about it right now, because tomorrow you have to pay an extra $50. And so that's where he was headed to do so. And something had happened a couple blocks from where he lived at. He had, like I said, we had just separated from each other. It was his first apartment on his own. He was there 4 months. And he moved in like a Mexican community, which they loved him there. And you didn't see too many blacks over there because of the gang violence. And so something happened at the gas station 2 blocks down on Magnolia. And they gave a description of a black man. Well, my son, per all the witness, said that he had his earplugs in because he was listening to some music, because he had his own studio, and, you know, he did beats and whatever. I don't know what it was he was listening to, and he turned the corner, and the police got out, and they gave him some commands, but he probably didn't hear them because he had the earplugs in, but I felt like maybe they should have went around the block and cut him off that way, or, you know, whatever. But
got his attention.
Shooting. Yeah, they started shooting. They said that he did not comply to any of their orders. I guess they were saying, stop, put your hands up, or whatever. So they shot him 10 times in the back. He fell to the ground, and one of the witnesses told me that he showed a sign of life. It could have been even his last reflex. He was trying to get his arm from under him, and another officer leaned in and shot him 2 more times, which were the 2 fatal wounds. He would have probably stood a chance, maybe been in a wheelchair with those 10 shots, but when he went down, the officer leaned in and shot 2 more times. They handcuffed him. The neighborhood was in a roar at that time, so instead of just like leaving him like for the clowners to come, they hurried up and they put him in an ambulance, and they took him to St. Mary's, which is a hospital that I once worked at, and I lived across the street from there prior to us going our separate ways. Right. So what they did, they lied and said Dante later died at the hospital. His death certificate, I had to kind of like go back and forth because it wasn't signed by a doctor pronouncing him dead because I guess the doctor didn't want to be, caught up or responsible because Dante died at the scene.
Wow.
Dante was dead on arrival.
Wow.
So then they lost his body. I had to go through all kind of changes. He was at the morgue. It hadn't been released yet. He was still at the hospital because the mortuary was waiting to receive him. So it was a lot, and not just that I lost my son Dante. 9 months and 2 days later, the San Bernardino Police Department, they tased my brother's son, which is my nephew. They tased him to death.
Oh, wow.
And his
I'm
name is
sorry to
Dante
hear that,
Parker.
sister.
It doesn't stop there, sister. 7 months and 8 days later, Long Beach Police Department, they killed my little cousin, Derek Hunt, on the ground with his hands up in the air.
Oh, my gosh.
I lost 3 family members. 2013 was Dante, 2014 was Dante, and 2015 was Derek Hunt.
3 at the hands of police.
Yes, I lost 3 family members, yeah. So it's been
all I can say is condolences. We pray that God is pleased with them. So all that I can say, I want to ask you, what do you get from Families United for Justice?
Well, Families United for Justice has been very, very supportive to me and for me. And like I said, I don't fight for just one. I fight for 3.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they've been right there.
Wow. Wow.
Even with times I needed to talk about just other things, personal things, I could call Aunt B, and she listens to me.
Yeah, yeah. Very important to have somebody to turn to is what I hear many family members say, that when if there's protests and the activists, people support after the incident has happened is critical.
Yes, and they include me in everything they do. I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah, praise be to Allah. Well, Ms. Fields, thank you so much again for your patience and also for coming on, however briefly, to make us aware of what happened to your loved ones, not just your son, but your nephew, both your nephews, nephew and a cousin.
My nephew and my cousin.
Nephew and cousin. Thank you so much. Is there any website or anything? I put a GoFundMe up, but is there anything you have where people can go and find out more information? In addition,
what? At this time, I don't. I was going to do another anniversary celebration for my son, but I've been doing so much to where I just don't have the energy for the things that I do, the yard sales and all that. So I won't be celebrating his death, which could be a good thing. I will be celebrating him his birthday.
Praise
and I don't have one as of yet, but I will be setting that up because his birthday is 4 days after Christmas, which gives me more time, and I won't be stressed out. I'm the oldest, I'm the mom, I'm the everything to everybody. So I need a little self-care for right now, and then I'll plan that. But I will, Aunt B and Uncle Bobby will know, and they will, I can have them to keep you guys posted.
Absolutely.
Support is needed.
Yeah, always. Absolutely. And thank you so much. And I got that. Dante Jordan Angelversary. Always. You're welcome to Liberated Sisters anytime.
Thank you so much.
Peace and blessings.
Likewise. Bye-bye.
So we're getting ready to wrap out in about 5 minutes or so. We're going to call Uncle Bobby and Sister Beatrice back and let them have the final words. And, just stay abreast of what's happening. LiberatedSisters.com for more information. While we're getting them on, I'll do my announcements so that they can truly have the last word. I just want to say thank you all, but don't go because Beatrice and Uncle Bobby are coming up. But thank you for tuning in and supporting Liberated Sisters. NOI.org to hear Minister Farrakhan's messages as well as those of his student ministers, his helpers like Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Woo! This Sunday, Doctor. Tore it up. Please listen to that. Also, thank you to Rosemary Dueñas and Miss Pamela Fields. Thank you in advance to Sister Beatrice and Uncle Bobby. Thank you to Felicia, the Poetess Morris and Morris Media Studios. You're invited to hear Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad at the mosque this Sunday. Be my guest, 8701 South Vermont. The doors open at 10:30. We start at 11. Go to liberatedsisters.com. Again, for more information, we're heard on Saturdays at KPFK 90.7 FM, kpfk.org. Fridays, Radio Justice, radiojustice.org. And here every Tuesday. Now let's bring in Sister Beatrice, Uncle Bobby for the closing. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, ma'am.
So you both have the last 5 minutes combined, okay? So take it away. I've already made my announcements.
Okay, thank you. I'll just be brief. I just want to talk about Families United for Justice 2020, inshallah.
Yes.
We will be in Washington, D.C. And I also want to talk about the black and brown shutting it down. Our black and brown, we are family, even though we have people seriously in the struggle that's trying to divide that. And some of them look like us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They look black and brown. So what we're going to do is hold tight and don't let go. And we're going to march on to Washington, D.C., September 2020. I'm going to have to write our divine leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and ask him if we could use his minister, Minister Abel Muhammad.
That's right. Shout out, Brother Abel, our indigenous brother, original man.
Right, so we can get this black and brown unity thing straight and Families United for Justice, so we can be one and understand that we are family. We don't need to fight each other because we got to fight our common enemy.
That's right.
And so we thank the final call, Sister Charlene Muhammad. We thank Minister Sabor Muhammad, who dropped the mic on.
Did he not? Did he not? Oh, my God.
And we want to thank, we also had John Burris and we had Sam, all the panelists that made right for the families. They really appreciated that. And so 2020, Washington, D.C., I actually have a theme. Our unity, our journey, justice or else.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Sister Beatrice. Uncle Bobby?
Yes, I think in closing, I'll just go ahead and share the website.
Okay.
So the listeners will have an opportunity. You can go to the website. So, of course, the Love Not Blood campaign is located at www.lovenotbloodcampaign.org.
Okay. Got that?
And Families United for Justice is located at www.fu4, which is the number 4j.org.
Got it. I posted them on.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. And, we want to say thank you to Sister Charlene for being at the conference.
Alhamdulillah.
For, just witnessing the love and the bonding and, everything that took place. And as the wife shared concerning the panel, we want to thank all the panelists for being there and sharing their expertise in what they do, especially to our Minister Sabir Muhammad, who really was
phenomenal.
Yes, phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. Uncle Bobby, Uncle, he really did. Uncle Bobby, I gave Attorney Burris, Dr. Molina, Brother Abdul Sabur, but I need the names of the sister from Amnesty. What's her name? And the brother with the mapping project. I didn't have their names handy, and I want to say their names out and thank them.
Yes, of course, Amnesty International was Christy Roth.
Yes.
Roth.
Thank you, Christy.
Roth.
Yes.
That's Roth. And, of course, Sam is the founder and co-founder of Mapping the Police. His name is Sam Sensemwe. I can't spell his last name, but his first name is Samuel. You can Google Mapping the Police, and you'll see the founder who actually created that application.
It was strong. Y'all had a strong panel. That panel was off the chain. Mapping police violence. Yeah, Samuel Singh Yahweh.
That's correct.
Oh, my God. The information was strong. But go ahead, Uncle Bobby. One more minute with you. 1 more minute. I don't want to take it.
Yeah, and I think in closing, I'd like to say, too, we want to give a shout-out to the 175-plus families that came to the conference. I mean, it was just a powerful experience. And we thank God because in 2014, when we did our first one, we had like 9 families that came to Oakland, and to see today, like you say, the numbers growing, which is a sad sight, but at the same time, at least no family really has to walk alone no more.
Key point right there. I do want to say, oh my God, go ahead. Go ahead, Beatrice.
I just want to say, we want to thank everyone, our board members, everyone who came. But for me personally, I know I got my family. We got some stuff in our family. We got that spirit to fight. But I personally wouldn't be able to do it without Farad, Elijah, and Farrakhan. So those are the ones who keep me grounded, and the believers in the Nation of Islam. I couldn't be in this work. And I want to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for his divine mercy, grace, and guidance, and loving us, loving ourselves. And he ain't doing it just because we're so faithful and doing what we're supposed to do. Okay? So
that's right.
I continue to love him for loving us and guiding us. And I love you, Minister Farrakhan, and the nation.
Thank you, Sister Beatrice Ogunbabi. I think I need to let it go right there. And thank you, Sister Felicia, for allowing us to go a few minutes over today, and all of you for being patient with my transitions. Liberated Sisters needs your support. Thanks for tuning in. Stay with us. And Uncle Bobby, Sister Beatrice, and all of you, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, ma'am.